Welcome to another episode of Bringing Down the Grindhouse, a podcast where we discuss horror in media. And tonight, join us as we venture into a mystical, apocalyptic setting, incorporating elements of cyberpunk and death as we analyze hardware. I'm Mitch.
I could not do the voice.
Why are we doing this voice? I sound like a pro wrestler.
Yeah, I was like, this
You gotta
turned
put the
into
pro
Hulk
wrestler
Hogan really
shades
quick.
on.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
Here you go. Here you are.
Oh, wait.
We got the Pit Vipers.
Hold on. Pause for putting on the Pit Vipers.
I'm the cream of the crop now. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what are we talking about today, Mitch?
Hardware.
Oh, like Home Depot.
I can't
Like
believe
Home
this
Depot
movie
hardware.
came out in 1990.
Yeah, that
And
shit's
Richard
insane.
Stanley.
Yeah, what the fuck?
This is the third movie of his that I've seen.
Yeah,
and
wait,
Yeah.
before we go into it, Murr, I need to know why in the notes there's a little quote, little like brackets that says now canceled, by the
Oh,
way.
I'm going to get to that.
Can we? Okay. I was like, wait, what?
Well, okay, before we discuss, I guess I'll just get the production notes out of the way, and I'll answer that question, John.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so
I'm looking
Hardware.
forward to this answer, too.
Hardware is a movie that was released in 1990 in the U.S. and the U.K., and it was directed by Richard Stanley. He was the original director of The Island of Dr. Moreau. He was the guy that hid in that fucking cottage like several miles away and came back as an extra. Remember us talking about that?
Yeah.
We've talked about two of his movies so
Yeah.
far.
And then he also directed Color Out of Space, which came out a couple years back that we did.
Which
a
is
great
on the
discussion
other
on.
end of being amazingly good.
He has very little amount of movies, but
Yeah.
they're all like cult classics in some regard.
Yeah.
Well, this is his debut, right?
This is the first
Does
movie
this-
he ever made.
Does this movie? We've covered all the movies he's been a part
Nope.
of. No. What else are we missing?
There's one more movie, his second movie, that
Dang.
is very well known,
Okay.
and I don't know the name of.
All
Yeah,
right.
I was like the one we don't know the name of.
I mean, it's Richard Stanley fans, and now I should explain why Richard Stanley is canceled. So Richard Stanley was originally made to make 3 movies in the what's that racist guy's name? Oh, Lovecraft.
does not narrow it down a little,
Yeah,
like even a
yeah,
little bit.
Lovecraft. He was basically made to direct 3 Lovecraft movies.
Yeah.
So he made for the first one, he made Color Out of Space. Everyone speculated he was going to do the Innsmouth and then At the Mountain of Madness as well. But before writing for that happened, his partner allegedly came out and came forward and said he Chris Browned me. Basically, he just beat his wife up a bunch.
Richard Stanley.
Yeah. So he did domestic violence and is now canceled by the industry. And I know there's at least one person that wants to see his trilogy, but I'm sorry, man. You're never going to get it.
So what? Now people don't want to work with him? Is that what you're saying?
He's basically just at a point where like his name is stained right now. He can't find work. He can't do work in the industry right now.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well then, how do we come across Hardware? Why is this?
So Hardware is a movie that has become a cult classic basically from the get-go of when it was released. When it was originally released in New Zealand and in the US, it had an X rating. So that also like stunted it from getting
really
like
an X rating? It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like that bad.
we'll get into that.
This is, I guess, by today's standards, it's kind of.
There are some parts that are mildly
Yeah, there's some
by
stuff.
their standards.
Yeah.
For the X rating, it was specifically in regards to them like killing the creepy guy with the robot eventually, and then just a lot of the TV shows that they showcase in the movie have like actual depictions of war, actual depictions of like sexual violence and stuff.
Gotcha.
So it was just the time and place, 1990, coming off the cusp of the 80s. It was just a very, oh, you want to do that? Well, that's like groundbreaking. We haven't really seen that. We're going to give you an X rating because we don't know what to do with said material. So yeah. And then basically Richard Stanley also wrote this movie, and it was produced by Joan Steller and Paul Trebitz. It was produced by the British Satellite Broadcasting Company as well as Unlimited Palace Productions. And then to get into the little bit of starring roles, we have Dylan McDermott as Moses Hardmo Baxter, our main character. Stacey Travis as Jill, who, by the way, unfortunately, another piece of shit lore, for this movie. It was produced by the Weinstein brothers, unfortunately. And, yeah, like Harvey Weinstein, correct. And eventually, the chick who played Jill, Stacey Travis, didn't continue working in the industry because she basically said no to Harvey Weinstein for his advances.
Yikes.
And so he basically blackballed her from working with anyone in Hollywood after this film. To round out our cast, we have John Lynch as Shades, who is fucking hilarious in this movie. His super hippie friend that's just like, yo, what's up, man? How's it going, dude? Iggy Pop as Angry Bob.
Nice.
The radio broadcaster who is just so full of life. Carl McCoy is Nomad, basically one of the security guys at the apartment. William Hootkins as Lincoln Weinberg Jr., who is the weird fucking guy. The weird guy that's like a stalker.
Oh, dude. Okay. So
super uncomfortable.
At some point, we have to talk about the creepy, uncomfortable phone call where he describes what he would like to do.
God.
And I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck?"
Yeah, maybe that had to do with something with the X rating.
That
too.
might have had something to do with it, maybe.
Yeah, I'm starting to think on it more. I think I'm just very desensitized to a lot of things because in reflection, that was a fucked moment.
I mean that's still. I mean, not even a reflection. In the moment, I was upset.
Yeah,
but it's all right.
Oh yeah, you're watching it and you're like, "Oh God."
Oh, my bad. Carl McCoy is the Nomad, the guy that we go into the intro of the movie with. So he's the wanderer that's picking up all the salvaged junk. And then Mark Northover as Alvy. If you ever seen the movie Willow, he's one of the supporting characters in that.
Yay.
Damn,
I love
bro.
Willow.
I haven't seen Willow in a long time.
He has dwarfism, so he's one of those guys.
Also, what else has Dylan McDermott been in? I've seen his face.
He's been in a lot of productions, whether it be TV shows or movies, but I can't really name any of them.
Oh, that's the motherfucker from American Horror Story.
Yeah, that's actually what it was.
He's the husband, the therapist in the first season of American Horror Story.
That is a show I don't watch.
I will.
You don't need to watch it. You watch one or two seasons of it, and it's pretty good. But not every season slaps.
I'll say that McCormick was the only person that made out of this movie as an actor with a career.
Literally, yeah.
Then,
he's been in a fucking million movies. Holy shit.
Then we have Lemmy as the taxi driver.
Nice.
Motherfucking Lemmy is in this movie. Mm-hmm. And there's the funniest piece of trivia about this movie is that for the role of this movie, they basically gave Lemmy a real handgun unloaded.
Oh my God.
And a bottle of whiskey. And before they even shot, he already fucking sank the bottle down. And then he fumbled and dropped the pistol into the bay where they were shooting, and they couldn't recover it.
Wow.
Fucking Lemmy.
So he lost an actual prop?
No, yeah, he lost an actual prop, which was an actual gun, too. And they sent divers to find the prop, and they never could.
Can you imagine someone's like, I need you to go in the water and find it? They're like, you want me to do what?
So this movie had a budget of $1.5 million, and it did good at the box office. It made $5.7 million in the box office afterwards.
I have such a hard time believing this movie was released in theaters and shit. You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel like something you would see in theaters. It feels like a direct to DVD kind of movie.
Right, yeah. I totally see what you mean. It has that real B-movie vibe to it for sure.
But it actually had a budget. They had the money for it.
I think it's crazy to me that it's a debut film because it's shot really well and it has a good atmosphere and set design to it. It feels like the world is lived in, which is kind of crazy for someone who's only working with $1.5 million.
I want this style of movie, but I want the movie Death Race to look like this.
Yeah, I get you. It is very campy, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Fangoria had a big part in the success of this movie because it was on one of the front covers.
Yeah.
Which is a horror magazine back in the 90s.
It's still around.
It's still around.
Not as popular, but it's still around.
Yeah. But they basically said that it's Evil Dead meets Cyberpunk, which I think is a perfect analysis for the movie.
I mean, he's got the robotic arm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's fucking crazy.
That apparently he wears during showers while he's
this
having
might
sex.
just be indicative of the genre and the setting and whatnot, but it's very Mad Maxy also.
Oh, yeah. all the stuff is like cobbled together.
Yeah.
So Richard Stanley wrote this, but he didn't tell people what he based it off of, and that caused legal issues because the original writers of the script or the comic book got mad and they had to press legal charges on him.
So he just did it without like any permissions.
Yeah. So this movie's story is based on a comic from the 90s called 2000 AD, and it was from a short called Shock, in which a robot comes alive in an apartment and chases a metalworking artist who is a woman. Also, in that same comic book, it is where Judge Dredd had his origin. So, Judge Dredd, those guys didn't even mention that was the inspiration in their movie.
You said 2000 AD comic?
Yeah, the 2000 AD graphic novel, which is also known as a comic back then.
Oh, okay. I didn't know anything about this.
So not only did Judge Dredd get hit with this legal team because they're like, hey, you're just taking our stuff, but Hardware also got hit with it too. So if you want to check out the original script idea, it's from a short called Shock, SHOK.
Man, we need more Judge Dredd movies.
Also, there was
Agreed.
a sequel being planned that Richard Stanley wrote on his own, and this was called Hardware 2 Ground Zero, prior to 9/11, which would have seen Stacey Travis's character Jill join a rebellion outcast and set forth on destroying the factories that manufactured the Mark 13, which we see in the movie.
So the description of the robot is hilarious to me because the AI or the recording that he's listening to that tells him about the robot is just so casual.
Oh, I love it. I love how
it's like
so
as
nice.
if they were speaking to someone and they're telling them about it.
The Mark 13 is
Yeah,
equipped with
and I was just like,
7
there's no
different
way
ways
they
to
did
kill
this
people.
recording. Yeah, it's showing like fucking saw blades and like all the things it's got on the inside.
I love Alvy's character because he's just kind of like a dwarf pawn shop owner.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so he's like, what do you got? You got junk or you got good shit?
Oh my God. It's also hilarious that she spray paints the American flag like on the fucking
Yeah.
robot skull, and like that's a whole scene montage.
Oh, yeah.
That you see, so you're just like, what the fuck is happening?
My favorite part is when it goes, it has 6 auxiliary limbs and 3 that can be used for other things. And he's like, more fucking legs than a goddamn spider. So this movie basically starts out with, we watch the Nomad in an incredible landscape that is just covered in deep red as he's scouring the wasteland for basically parts. This universe is basically written that there was a nuclear holocaust essentially, and people are basically trying to rebuild from that, but it's very hard in a post-apocalyptic
Post-apocalyptic.
setting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Where basically they have to salvage for parts. There's radiation poisoning as well as radiation sickness happening. They're making it a whole part that population control is a thing that they want to talk about in the movie because a big like focal center point for like morals is that it's unethical to have children in times of crisis.
Interesting.
And so I think that's kind of why Jill is like more centered as that character. She wants to make art to depict this because there's a mass sterilization program going on currently to sterilize yourself so you could help the benefit of mankind.
Damn. Help out your homie by not having kids.
Yeah. She even says it's sad, sadistic, and suicidal to have kids in a world like this. And the world that is made through the production design is fucking immaculate. For being so low budget, I have to give it props on that.
Yeah, they actually have like a huge amount of props for this film, especially with their like fake technology that they're using, which is really just like whatever was available in the 90s that they put together.
No, it's all practical effects for this
Yeah.
one. And it just looks really good.
We also, I think in the 90s just had a huge, like late 80s, 90s, we had a huge obsession with post-apocalyptic worlds, grimy shit getting thrown together, and then like that like industrial kind of feel where like you see people putting shit together, and like she's like an artist who's also like working with metal.
Also, I want to mention she can't fucking metal fabricate for shit.
Yeah, they were just they handed her
Oh
the
my
shit and were like,
God.
go ahead and just do shit with
The
it.
cuts were so bad. I was cringing as someone that works with metal. It was awful. Okay, so other than Tetsuo the Iron Man, this might be like the most industrial movie I've ever seen.
Possibly.
Pretty
yeah.
industrial.
You got wires, you got fucking metal saw blades, you got all kinds of junk that this artist Jill uses for her own artwork. And she lives in a pretty nice area within the city, which I find funny that she even brings out like the rad counter out before like the dudes come in. She's just like, I need to see if you guys have radiation sickness. And you could hear the fucking box going.
Yeah, so this movie has a lot of aesthetic appeal for people who actually work with like some of the equipment, and like they got the noises right for just about everything that they've included in the film. And then they started making new ones with like, what do you think this type of machinery would sound like, or like a hardware or whatever they're using.
Literal fucking hardware for the FOB like artist, which is super cool to see in a movie like this that's low budget technically. Not technically, but you know, a first debut film, you don't really see
He got a lot of fucking
these
money
grandiose
for a
kind of things.
debut. But I get what you're saying.
I want to know, what were your like initial thoughts on like the film, like when you saw it the first time?
I think it's a fun time. Like this, like you could tell the people who made it had a lot of fun with making this film. So it translates. Like you're gonna just enjoy it. Is it like the most perfect film ever? Like, does the plot make sense? Not really. But like, you don't really care when you're just like, you're in it to watch for the action, possibly a sex scene, and then the cool hardware that they include in it.
It felt very B movie to me.
Yeah.
Like similar to how Blood Machines was also, where it has that feeling, only it's way less. I don't know. It's more what's the word? It's more gritty and like raw looking.
I also had my expectations kind of where they needed to be. So like going into it, I was like, I know what this is. So maybe if people were expecting something really serious, they might not like it.
Right. When I initially saw this film, I looked at the poster prior, and it was basically like, man has met his extinction. And it said also music featuring Ministry, Public Image Ltd, Motorhead, and other bands, and Iggy Pop. I was like, okay, this sounds like a cult movie that got just the right amount of money to just do what people were enjoying in the 90s, which was synthesizers and fucking hard stuff.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. This is also quintessentially a 90s film. You could tell just from like the equipment, like filming equipment they used. So like for some reason during the 90s, they were like, you know what? We're not using any filters. So like you get like this, at the time, high quality or HD, whatever they were using, which now is probably like 720p shit. But like they weren't using any filters. So there's no soft lighting, you know,
it's all harsh.
It's all harsh LED lights that they're using for anything. The costuming is like leather and whatever else. So like they had a certain appeal that they were doing. In
Dude,
the 90s.
they had some really good costume design in this. I felt like we were living in an apocalyptic age, like kind of like Wasteland or something like that, where you've played Wasteland, right? Yeah, like Wasteland 2 or 3, you know.
Damn, I forgot about that.
No, those are absolutely. It's
what I find funny is that the actual traveler dresses just like Richard Stanley. So to me, I'm just like, you just wrote yourself in the movie again.
I want his coat.
Yeah,
that like it's to me it looked like it wasn't like you couldn't fully close it. It had like a piece missing, and then like it was because he had like his weapons on him. So it's like, this is kind of dope. I like this custom made jacket that he had there, which makes sense because you would probably end up making your own clothes if you don't find it.
What I love is that like this is a very gritty world, and then eventually we see like two people's apartments. We see Jill's apartment, which is super high tech and nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is probably my only gripe with it, is that like somehow there's still some semblance of regular life, which makes sense because they would try to make their home as comfortable as possible. But like they literally have landlines, like in their house, and I'm just like, how did you keep that working?
And then like Shade also has a really nice home, in which he performs a ritual and where he takes psychedelics and just trips the fuck out.
That shit's wild.
Which is hilarious.
Because he's like a sidekick, but he's a really like.
He's a really dopey one.
Lackadaisical sidekick. Like he's just like, all right, I need you to get over here right now. He's like, hold on a moment, and he's got to like put on his shades, and he's got to do a dance really quick, and then he leaves.
Jeez.
Yeah, you know, I've been checking on her, man. All right, man, I'm gonna head out. Just super lax and lazy.
Yeah,
I love it. So what did you think about like the actual like monster or like creature that they used for this? Because they used a puppeteer with it.
I like the design for it personally because it's just very ramshackle looking. Like it put itself back together again with what it had.
It's very reminiscent of like the skeletons you see in Evil Dead that are like their movements are so jerky.
Oh yeah,
like as they're
absolutely.
moving around. So that's what it felt like. But for some reason, I'm cool with that. I think because I'm like predisposed to like say Terminator, where you got to see the robots and like they're all very like. They're not smooth. They don't walk smoothly. Not until you had the second movie where it's like liquid metal, and then it could be a person who was doing that. But like when they had their what is it, the
T-1000?
T-1000 or whatever, when it's like it's just a skeleton, but like
Right.
it's so weird when it walks because it like has
It's
no
the stop
flexibility.
motion?
Yeah, it's the stop motion
Yeah.
jumpiness of it. So I was like, yeah,
I mean, but
feels
this thing
like
is
it.
clearly just like rolling around on a track. Like,
Yeah.
So the entire time I was just like, okay, so I know that this isn't like CGI or it's not like something like stop motion. They wanted to do stop motion originally. It's a puppet, but what really sold it to me was getting the tracks, like the tire tracking for like a tank, like working and functioning. That shit was dope.
Yeah, so whoever made the puppet or whatever they're using for it, that must have been actually kind of a lot of work to get it to work right for every scene. So that's probably a nightmare to maintain that. But it's worth it because then you have this real life thing that the actors can respond to, and it's not like they're staring at a green screen and yelling.
Right.
You know, like every Avengers movie does this, so you can tell they're like staring at a green wall while they're responding to whatever is on screen.
They're waiting for the thing to happen.
Yeah, so it's like anytime people do practical effects like this, it usually works out really well because you're immersed in the world, and it feels like it'll age well. It's like why Blade Runner ages so well.
Ooh yeah.
Because it's like all miniatures and matte paintings, where
It's timeless.
You know, so you don't have like the CGI that it'll get outdated. Like, God, what has really bad CGI that did not age well?
Tron Legacy.
Oh no, yeah, the de-aging
Or just the original
was
Tron.
weird. Yeah,
I love Tron Legacy though.
Yeah,
I'll defend that movie on a hill.
it's a fun movie.
it bombed. Like Disney brushed that under the carpet.
They
after it
made
came
their
out.
money back. I don't get it.
Yeah,
They made their money back and more. I don't understand it.
Yeah, that's true. They actually did make their money back.
They really just were like, nah, we're not. We've got Star Wars on the horizon.
Yeah.
Well, how did you feel about the threat of the robot? Because if this thing is like armed to the teeth.
So funny to me.
It is really funny how everyone freaks out about it, but it definitely like guts people, which is great. It's wonderful. Our creepy
absolutely
perv man,
ruthless.
creepy perv guy gets completely
Yo,
like
that creepy perv
That
guy,
dude gets
we have to
obliterated.
talk about.
yeah, annihilated after being weird and pervy.
You want to talk about the weird antics that guy does?
Oh my god.
I mean, he just watches.
He's
the lady.
he's like a peeping Tom sort of
Basically,
like
yeah.
character, and he likes to call and harass her, which is like I'm pretty sure this was pre-Scream. So like he's what that killer would be on the phone, where he calls you and is like talking shit at you, but he does like a very creepy, this is all the things I would do to you, and it's like sexual, and she's like, what the fuck, like why am I getting called by this rapist?
That's Black Christmas also, the guy
Yeah.
the guy that always calls the sorority house and says creepy shit to them.
Yeah, he's just like, come on, baby, how about I come over and we do it in the rear? And it's just like, oh my god.
No, he doesn't say that. He says, are you ready to take the Hershey Road, is what he says on the fucking phone call. This dude is
Hershey
fucked.
Road?
That dude is fucked.
Yeah, he specifically says
know,
that.
So when the
He's like-
robot comes in and absolutely disembowels this man, I was like, let's go.
Oh, but you want to know what? I bet that actor and those lines, he was just like, "Oh, this is going to be hilariously fun."
Yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, he's just
Watch
gets to
out.
be disgusting.
Like that guy is like super gross. He has like a bunch of like her clothes and shoes on his
Yeah,
wall.
he's obsessed.
He has so many photographs just lining the entire apartment of his, and he uses a weird latex glove to like pleasure himself.
Oh,
It's just
God.
awful.
Yeah.
He's using the heat seek camera like from across the way to be like, yeah, baby, you're a slut. Do it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
he's
God.
like talking to himself while watching
He's like
them have
licking
sex.
and just, yeah, do it just like that.
It's
Yeah,
the
show me
worst
your
version of ASMR
butt.
you can think
Yeah.
of.
I do like the main character though. I feel like for someone that lived in the setting that is provided, he was very believable.
Oh yes, there would definitely be weirdos like this.
That as well as like the main character, he has a robot hand from going to the military prior, and you see it vividly in the fucking the shower scene.
All right, but I do have to say that's very Warhammer 40K vibes. Not gonna lie.
Big Warhammer 40K vibes.
Do they ever get out of their suits to bang?
What, Space Marines?
Yeah.
They don't. They're not concerned with banging, to be honest.
And they're pretty much
They would probably bang their own Space
They
Marine brother
probably
first.
got rid of those parts because it would make them weak.
Probably.
Literally, they would be-
never
yeah.
make any reference to
Just-
them having sexual organs,
No.
and they don't have kids,
No,
and they never have
dude,
any real
it's
desire.
all for the glory of the Emperor. I mean, we this is a segue.
We're-
Stop.
yeah,
Yeah.
Your
Watch
army,
our sci-fi segments, and we'll talk about
Yeah,
40K.
your army gets bombed. How do you make another one?
They build them
Gene
in a-
seed.
Yeah, they
you just
okay.
clone motherfuckers,
They
and they all
grow
look
them in a
like
vat.
your
There's no
Primarch.
Okay, so there's no need for reproduction.
no.
No.
Yeah, you don't. There's no breeding.
See, all
happening.
right, the Adeptus Mechanicus ties into this because they want to transcend humanity because humanity is
Yeah.
above machines, so they don't even concern themselves with the idea of gender in the first place. But
Right.
anyway,
So there's
Anyway.
a big underlying theme because, like you said, we want to transcend machines, but then in this reality, the Mark 13 was a robot that was used for personal defense, and what we find is a prototype in the desert.
Dude, I love that somebody designed this for self-defense because it is most definitely not just for self-defense.
Oh no, it has like 7 ways
Like,
to.
this is like a bounty hunter robot.
Yeah.
Like, what
It has
the
a
fuck?
lethal injection that just pours itself out.
Okay, but we got to talk about what it does to these people because I felt like this wasn't just, oh, I'm going to like shoot and stab someone. Like, this thing was ruthless whenever it killed someone. You were like, that was excessively mean.
When they kill Lincoln, because Lincoln's creeping in our apartment, he's like, "Hey, baby, my name's Lincoln. I'll
Yeah.
take care of you." It's just so uncomfortable. But you're so excited to see that character get axed. He's like, "There's no fucking robots in here." Like, you know.
yeah. Oh god.
Originally, they were supposed to have the fucking creature crush his balls.
Oh,
Like,
God.
like,
how
turn
did
up-
why wouldn't you do that?
Amazing.
Basically-
You've already got the X rating.
Yeah. Like, all they had to do was basically make it turn to dust, and it would have been great.
God.
But they brutally murdered him. I'm reminded of like the kill of the guy in the hotel in Saw 4. Just
Yeah.
the super gross guy that's a pervert as well.
Oh, that's right.
So I was just like, holy shit, this is graphic and gruesome. You have like his eyes getting gouged out and all kinds of stuff that are going on with him.
He's going for the fleshy bits.
Yeah. I love Alvy though, and I feel bad that he dies later in the movie
Yeah.
because he's just a simple pawn shop owner that's trying to sell junk to get by. And he's just like, oh shit, there's money in this.
He's your junk seller.
He's like, oh shit, there's money in this, man. Get the Mark 13 down here, man. And he's like researching it, which is super cool because you hear it be played through cassette, but it's on this fucking modern TV screen, which is wild to me to see all these like mix of analog and digital
Yeah.
like coming forth.
I'm always a huge fan of sci-fi stories that still use like analog input shit.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, nah, like we wouldn't ever change this. Like this is what it's gonna always be for the control panel.
I was just looking at a meme and it was basically saying that, well, while you're checking out the Navy for monsters, because I guess this was in a Godzilla movie, but at one point they're using this like navigation machine, and it's essentially just one of the like sound effect boxes for a synthesizer.
Hell yeah.
And so there's like, hey, yo, check this out. And this chick's just like, I don't see anything on the TV, boss. Like, you're just turning up the volume and turning it down.
That's because you only use it for audio. That's funny. I love that. I love when people identify items as props. When they're like, yeah, that's just like this thing, but they like painted it. And it's like that looks like a flashlight, whatever they're using there. I can see that happening a lot.
What do
in
you guys
this
think
film.
about the music choices in this movie?
Fucking great.
Yeah, no, very, very indicative of the 90s.
Yeah, you got Ministry while Guar is on the screen.
Yeah, which is funny as hell to me. I was like, that's not a Guar song. And then yeah.
My favorite part is when Lemmy is the cab driver. He's like, "You guys going to the city? Yeah, you guys like music? Check this fucking band out."
yeah,
and
and
they
it's
play
just his
Ace of
band.
Spades.
like I mean, imagine like how intense are you that you just play your own band song in the scene
That's
in the movie
pretty
you're in.
Also,
They did it with Iggy Pop too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did it with Iggy Pop. In this future too, you have to assume that like a lot of music's just been lost. So like they
Yeah.
don't really have access to that much. So whatever they do find, they're probably just obsessed with it.
Yeah.
So he's just like, this is the only song I've had, and I've listened to it for the last 10 years. And you're like, oh, all right then. And he's just fucking playing that. Oh my God.
At some point, this movie goes on like super heavy, like religious imagery.
Yeah, it does.
Because the Mark 13 is actually a verse in the Bible, and it's like what the robot is named after, and then we actually have the main character reading off Mark 13, which I pulled up his actual quote, and it basically goes like this. See these mighty buildings. All shall be thrown down, shattered, splintered, and split. The earth will shake, rattle, and roll. The masses will go hungry. Their bellies bloat. These are the birth pains. No flesh shall be spared. And seeing that like prior to the scene when the robots come out was fucking insane. That was like super fucking cool. He's like, all right, Jill, I'm going to go see you later. And then the fucking robot comes out and is just like on a blood hunt.
Yeah.
It's very Evil Dead because it only keeps itself to like 2 central locations.
That whole verse is kind of insane. It's the destruction of the temple and signs of the end times. And it's literally just a very fire and brimstone part of the Bible where they're like, everything's going to fucking get destroyed. And you're like, oh, all right.
You're like, that's very nice.
Because in the, what is it? In the canon of the Bible,
Yeah.
the earth has been destroyed like 3 times already. And they're just like, yeah, it's going to happen again because you're all sinners.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, how fitting! It's a pretty fitting verse for this thing.
too.
And post-apocalyptic movies and Bible quotes just seem to go hand in hand. Post-apocalyptic themed things. Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually they come back like with shades super high as fuck, trying to destroy this robot. And I was never really fucking stressed out in this movie, but the amount of times they have to quote unquote kill this thing.
Yeah.
That shit stressed me out.
Yeah, they're just like, is it not dead yet? Is it not?
Yeah.
You shot it in the face how many times?
With shotgun rounds.
Yeah, with
too?
shotgun. Like, they all stand in a doorway, in a line, firing, and then... and then a door shuts and kills one of the guards.
Yo, that shit was
and then,
nuts.
Yeah, I know,
I
dude.
love that.
That's like one of my favorite parts of this movie is how insane that whole scene is, where they're all just in like this little corridor fighting the robot, and people are getting ripped in half by doors, getting headshots, heads blown, people dying. It's insane, and I'm like, you guys already killed it like 3 times though. How is it?
Then she like hides. There's that super great scene where it's like heat censored. So like it could see where heat is, and that's how it basically moves. So there's one great scene where she removes everything from her fridge and jumps in at the last moment.
Is this a Predator reference, or did Predator come after?
Predator was before. It was the 80s.
Was before this was the 80s. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's ripping off a Predator thing then.
Yeah,
in a
definitely.
Yeah, of course.
Which is great. It's not a bad thing. That's kind
Yeah.
of cool.
I love how this person worked with metal to ministry, and then they use their entire shop around them that's in their home to essentially just destroy this thing. And her neighbors are just super fucking hilarious. The downstairs neighbor is like, shut the fuck up, please. And they're just banging, or she's getting
Jeez.
murdered.
Damn, that's kind of fucked.
The main character, though, eventually like succumbs to the liquid that the robot injects in him. And it's fucking crazy because this is one of the times that the movie gets super fucking psychedelic.
Yeah.
Because it's supposedly this drug that is put into you will sedate you and kill you, but you feel unimaginably happy that it's happening.
Yeah.
And so even Albie was like slightly smiling when he was dead and we find his body. And so we just see that in real time through like a crazy visualization. And it just makes me wonder what the fuck is Shade on to. Because he was shirtless, just like, oh man, my heart feels like a crocodile, dude.
What a statement.
Yeah. I thought it was just a lot of fun. And like I think Fangoria summed it up perfectly. It's just like an Evil Dead movie that is super cyberpunk and industrial. Because that ending, when they finally get into the bathroom and they destroy it with the water, she actually breaks the fucking bat too on this thing, which is so cool to see in slow-mo.
Holy shit. I know it's probably like a broken bat already.
No.
It's like, or did she actually
It was
have
a real bat.
She had the strength to break a bat?
Yeah.
That's kind of insane. to get.
No. She beats the shit out of it with a baseball bat, and then it just starts splintering. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she's pretty strong.
I gotta say,
Jesus.
that bathroom is fucking really well lit. Holy fuck! I was like, oh my god, the lighting in this bathroom is immaculate right now.
I love that has become a thing you're noticing in film. Is dang, do they do a good job on lighting?
Yeah, I mean,
this must be a brand new appreciation for films like The Lighthouse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you're like, this is just a master lesson on lighting for that in black and white.
I mean, now after like seeing how films work in person, it's just like, yeah, like you said, the appreciation. But also, I'm just like, how did they get this scene? This must have sucked.
Yeah, a lot of this movie, I was like, this must have been a pain in the ass.
Because they even have a moment where they're all hanging out from the fucking window on like a 3-story building.
Yeah,
I'm like, fuck, that would have sucked.
They probably only had a set for like one story of the building, and then just made it look like it was high up.
Right, which is super cool. Which makes me believe that they also use matte paintings too. Then.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they did for some of it. But I mean, at this time, I think you could still commission people to do that. It wasn't until like late 90s, early 2000s that people kind of stopped doing that. And then it was because people were like, technology, let's try out this new CGI, and then it looked like dog shit.
You mean the guy who's just like, yeah, we made the Jurassic Park CGI even though we were told not to?
God, I love that story because I still don't understand how they made it on the like shitty computers they were using. Mm-hmm. They like managed to create realistic looking dinosaurs, and like they perfected the walk of the creatures so well that they came and they're like, yeah, that looks fucking amazing, let's use that.
There's like, we're gonna use this guy who's been a legend in the scene for 50 plus years to do the stop motion, and he was on set doing the work, and these two schmucks were just like, well, we've been smoking cigars and drinking a bunch of beer, and look what we made. And they showed it to the executives with Kathleen Kennedy in the room, by the way, and they're like, this is it. Who are the guys that made this?
Dude,
and they wanted to fire the first two dudes.
She had the biggest bullshit moment of all time where she walked in to fire them and then saw what they were doing. And she was like, yeah, I told them to make this. It looks good, right? It looks good. We're going to use this. And then they leave the office and she was like, keep doing that. It's just like, oh my god,
it's so funny. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. you got to see the movies that made us.
Yeah, it's from the Netflix series that tells you how movies were made, and they talk about how Jurassic Park was made, and it's like literally just a bunch of cobbled together shit that worked really well, and then they just went like the park itself was supposed to be finished, but it wasn't, and then they used it as a plot device that they were still building the park.
Oh, beautiful.
So it's easy. It was easy to fix. So like that's why you go in and there's scaffolding everywhere. That was legit what they were using.
That's all they
on
had.
Set. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
and so
nice.
Like they envisioned the park would be finished and had tons of people in it, but they couldn't get enough people. They couldn't get the set finished. So they're like, fuck it, it's unfinished and it's only them. And that's how they got the movie together to work, which is insane.
I think like the 90s was a great time for like all these coming of like time and technology for film, so it's like it's really cool to see
big expectations for what technology was going to be like in the early 90s, because this is like what pre like popular internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, internet hit like 94. So you're just like, you're still having this this idea of what the future might look like, and then now we have shitty technology.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing. You have for every Jurassic Park and every hardware and every, I don't know, Star Wars, you have, I don't know, Waterworld.
I fucking love Waterworld.
I love Waterworld too.
Yeah, so
I'm
do
still
I.
so mad that it was such a bomb.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it on another episode.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Special on Waterworld.
So I guess, did you guys have any favorite scenes for hardware then?
Dang, that's tough.
Oh, it's just, for me, it's just that the last scene where they're all in a line firing at the robot and people are getting ripped in half, and it's just a bloodbath of gunfire and bullets, and it's amazing. Yep.
If it's not that, it's the really cheesy, like almost porno-esque shower scene.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're just like, they like have a shower together and then they like go straight into sex scene, and you're just like, and then the dude's like watching them, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like all of this.
So I guess I need to do a point of view really quick.
Right.
Yeah.
There is a sex scene in this.
Yeah.
Get your waterproof
She sounds
power
like
glove.
she literally sounds like a dying dog. So it's not like it's not a good scene.
All I gotta say is though, like, super interesting to see just a straight up like Power Glove looking ass thing
It
in the
literally
shower.
is a Power Glove, bro. Like,
Nintendo fanboys rejoice.
Yeah. It's fucking dope though.
it's like, yeah, you too can keep your Power Glove on when you go into the shower.
But my favorite
In mid fuck, you can keep your Power Glove on. Honey, the Power Glove stays on.
the Power Glove stays on during sex.
Oh my god.
My favorite scene is after that though, when she's just like, I need to work on this art piece.
Yeah.
And she puts on the welder helmet, she grabs the fucking tools, and they just play Ministry.
Just sweaty as
just
fuck.
like Stigmata. That is like the industrial track.
Yeah.
For anyone
really.
that's just like trying to do something.
Yeah.
Also,
that's the one.
at the time, it had not been like played out.
No, that too.
So like it was definitely a song choice that you'd be like, that fucking is hard.
That,
Like,
that's
this
that's a
what
riff.
Yeah, I want to
That's
use
a fucking
this.
riff.
Us now watching it, we're like, damn, I've heard that song so many times.
Yeah.
So it made sense. Yeah, the music is also something to note. I think all the music was well chosen and made for it.
So do you guys have a theory why it would become such a cult classic after the film was made?
It like appeals to a certain aesthetic that I don't think is that popular anymore. So it's like after it was probably popular for a little bit, and then people just like it fell into obscurity. Like you can tell people about this movie, and I don't think anyone would really know. Like Hardware, like what are you talking about? Hardware from 1990? Like you tell somebody that right now, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
It's a very niche area of horror that people know.
Also, yeah, technically like thriller, horror, sci-fi.
It's a lot.
It's
a
a
mishmash
lot mashed up into it. Yeah,
it's a mishmash of what people liked in the 90s for sure.
I mean, what thriller, horror, sci-fi, action,
Industrial.
Industrial is this film genre.
Yeah.
Industrial films,
which is like not so popular anymore.
It's cool though because like prior to that, the most industrial film we talked about was Tetsuo the Iron Man,
Which is insane. Yeah,
it came out in the 80s. Which is even more nuts to me because that might be one of the first industrial albums ever made too.
Oh wow, shit, yeah, that's true.
That shit's fucking tough too. We talked about it in that episode, but the fact that they use real hammers and shit is nuts to me.
oh man,
good FOB artists. For
what
sure.
would you rate it then?
I'm gonna give this one a 10.
Dang, it's going full.
It's
10?
honestly like one of those movies where I'm just like I feel too much connection to like the source material. Like I love the aesthetic and how it plays out. For me, I'm gonna buy a Blu-ray like steel cover of this and have it on my shelf for whenever I want to watch it with my friends. The music, the atmosphere, and the action are what pull me in. But as a metal worker, it just kind of sinks in too much for me. It's more of a love-hate relationship, like I have with my job.
Damn. And you do welding, yeah.
Yeah.
It's for anybody who doesn't know.
I also love Alvy. That little midget dude. I relate to that guy so hard.
Really good. I want to give it like a 9, like 8.59. Only because it's like otherwise like not the best kind of story. I don't know, like it's just kind of like they only did things just to look cool. That's like kind of like the whole movie. And so I was like, other than that, though, I vibe with it, and it's a lot of fun. So I can't be mad about people having fun making a movie.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think that my 7 rating is going to anger anyone.
Whoa!
But I think that I do agree with John that they spent a lot of time making things look cool and a little bit less time on like the substance of what they were doing. Because with post-apocalyptic things, you have a lot of area for maybe a little social commentary here or there. And I feel like theirs may be really shallow or just not there at all.
You know, I'm going to quote the Cyberpunk role-playing game.
Oh my
Oh
god!
Thing from the 90s, which was brought up in the new video game 2077. That also relates to Blood Machines, the episode we did prior. Cyberpunk is always style over substance.
Yeah, that's true. You want to look cool in the cyberpunk universe.
Yeah, but I mean...
But that doesn't
you know what?
change
But
the
that
fact
doesn't.
that it's not good.
Yeah,
That doesn't mean that the movie's all of a sudden good because it looks cool.
You know what it means to me is that it's just way more cyberpunk than I thought it was.
Fair.
There you go. It's cyberpunkness is what kills it. just like the machines will.
I'm
Like
a,
that.
Yo, wow. Damn, bro.
Okay.
I'm giving it a 7 anyway, if that wasn't clear.
Yeah.
so, knowing the plot of the original movie, would you like to see a sequel to this?
Fuck no.
No, we don't need a sequel to this. I want to see what the graphic novel is.
Okay.
Actually, I want to see what it's based
The
on.
source material is dope.
So you
Yeah.
wouldn't want to
So-
see like Jill come back and try to destroy the government that's making said Mark 13s.
No,
'Cause they're up
because
for-
they didn't set it up well enough in the first
yeah,
place.
then it's just a ripoff of Terminator 2, and then
Yeah, and then we already did that. All right, we already did Terminator 2. Okay.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Fine then.
Yeah.
I would like
But,
to
hey,
see a fucking sequel.
If you love it, Mur, that's what matters right here. You know.
Well, I'm gonna walk us out. Our studio audience is currently napping on the couch and snoring. Look at that little memer.
Look at that. Look at that little
That's the
peanut over
Pog
there
champ.
in the gallery.
That's our little Pog Champ, and you could be our Pog Champ too if you join the Discord.
The
and,
Discord? What's that, Mur?
it's so cool, dude. We hang out, we share memes, we talk shit on films, we talk about films we like,
Argue with each other.
we argue with each other about weird shit. Yeah, join the Discord. The link is in our link tree, as well as you can check it out on any of our social medias.
But Mur, there's something else too. How can they support us?
Well, if you'd like to financially support us, other than lovingly support us, you could check out our Patreon, where for $2 a month, you could subscribe to us, as well as get access to our bonus content and suggest more horror content for us to review. Also, on top of that, you could check out our social medias, where if you would like to give us a number, which is a plus number, aka a follower count, you could check out our Facebooks, our Twitters, and our Instagrams, where we have all of our new stuff. And
That's so exciting.
that's so exciting. You know what else is exciting? If you really love the podcast, you just can't get enough of it.
I can't.
You can't. Okay.
Can't get enough.
Well, you could tell everyone how much you can't get enough of it by reviewing us on Apple Podcasts.
Oh my god.
As well as giving us a good rating on Spotify.
You know what, Mur? I'm gonna go do that right now. I'm gonna go on there,
Well-
write a review.
Wait. That shirt doesn't look cool. You could get a better shirt.
I could? Where could I get a better shirt?
Oh, I'd say maybe the Teespring on our Linktree, which has Bringing Down the Grindhouse merch.
Oh my god, merch!
Yeah, you could also quench your thirst with the Bringing Down the Grindhouse cups and mugs.
Oh my god! You know, I'm so thirsty right now. I've got to go get some. If I don't, I'll fucking die.
Also, you could check out our new segments if you really want more.
More? You mean there's more of this?
Yeah, we got Conspiracy Hour, where we talk about conspiracies.
Oh my
in the
god!
government.
Tinfoil hat's ready.
We have a sci-fi corner.
Oh my god,
Where-
laser guns?
Yeah, where we talk about-
explosions? Space?
we got cryptids with Justine.
Oh my god, monsters we've never seen, or perhaps we have.
We have monsters with Myrrh.
Oh my god, where you talk about cool monster movies from like the 20s.
And we got horror games with Mitch.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm trying to play more horror games because I'm not used to them.
Well, if you want to see Mitch, myself, and John play more video games and discuss film as well as horror as a genre,
There's more content.
there's even more
Oh
content.
my god.
Check out the Twitch, where we stream weekly as well as daily on some days, and you can hang out with us on our Discord and talk to us. And
Mur,
check it out.
This is so much content. Is it condensed?
It's condensed. We've made the episode shorter and more available for people everywhere.
Amazing.
But we have to make an announcement.
Oh, what is this?
Well, with all the content coming out and everything going on in the world, we currently have to take a break from the podcast.
It's only a vacation.
It's only a little vacation.
So we can
We'll be
relax.
back.
We'll be back. There's so much stuff that we are working on right now to get more content
And
out to you.
As far as like real time for everybody listening, we'll probably be gone like 3 weeks anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, either of those is fine.
Either
We
of
take
those
both
is
of
fine.
those as constructive
Yeah,
criticism.
yeah. We love the love and we love to laugh at the hate.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that's all I got. Hardware, 1990 by Richard Stanley. Canceled piece of shit.
Yeah. Let's walk out. Let's walk out. Get your shoes. Get your
Oh my
coats.
god, bro.
Get your shoes. Get your coats. We're leaving. I'm Mitch.
I'm Murr.
And I'm Jonathan. Thank you.